There it is, the supercell off to the west. Look at this thing. Wow. Moving in very quickly. As I say, this thing's moving at 80 kilometers an hour. It's moving kind of due east right into our area. You can already see where there's strong winds developing. Absolutely incredible. Wow. This thing has some power to it. You do not want to mess around with this one.
There it is. This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen.
Get on!
Wow. I'll watch the video later. They dry mopping this. That was pretty unsettling yesterday. You know, we're watching the storm starting to pop off in Alberta, and we're like, well, looks like one's coming right for Brooks, Alberta. And Brandon's already on the radio stations. He's on the internet. He's out there shouting. And this storm just bypasses the edge of Brooks. However, on the west end of town where Brandon Houck lives, he got smacked hard. You know, so I'm watching his live stream as the storm is rolling in.
The very dangerous storm moving into Brooks. They've issued an emergency alert for the area for this storm. Wow. Damaging winds. And we're starting to see hail. Here's the hail. Hail has arrived. And it could be up to baseball-sized hail. We're getting into the hail core now. Here we go. And these hailstones are going to do damage. Here we Holy moly.
And it's like, okay, it doesn't look too bad. And then suddenly it's like, wham, hail, wind. And I'm like, holy. And about 10 seconds later, the stream abruptly ends. And that made me concerned because Brandon Houck, when a storm like that's landing in, I don't expect him to kill the live stream. I expect him to keep it going for a while. Look at this, friends. Look at this. Maybe he did kill it on his own. I don't know, because he was like, this is so bad. I got to be using my phone to do other things. I'm not exactly sure, but when that stream abruptly ended, I was like, oh boy. And we're looking at the velocity signatures on radar. I'm like, I hope Brandon's going to be okay. And the damage around Brooks, Alberta, I don't think a tornado happened. It seemed to me like what happened was the inflow temporarily got cut off by the outflow. So this storm went gush and just dropped its guts for a minute, and it bent over these metal hydro towers, the big ones. It's going to take F2 or 3 damage, I would think, to bend those friggin' towers, man.
It blew over the fucking main power line, guys. Look at this shit. All the way across the intersection here. Those big bitches, look at them bent over.
So power is going to be out in that Brooks area, Newell County area, for a lot of the next week, I'm pretty sure. Fortunately, Brandon's okay. I don't know if we'll have him on the podcast tonight or not. That's right. Cariboo Weather Dude YouTube channel here every Thursday night, 6:30 p.m. is the Meteorological Report, Comedy Meteorology Report.
Okay, so we do have some damage out here. A power line got knocked right down into this, well, now no longer a corn field, but my goodness, and debris from this shelter over here, this barred, also drifted into this field. Still have, oh yeah, some of the big hail that fell over here. Wow. And we've got reports of these power lines over here on the Trans-Canada Highway also knocked down. And parts of that has been shut down as well. Incredible force of this storm here. Knocked these 2 power poles right down. Right, we're at the backside of the storm, but this is the hail that came down with this storm. At least toonie-sized hail. And lots of tree branches down. A lot of debris. So we're checking things out, but yeah, wow. Wild storm, definitely the strongest storm of the year. And you can see that hail that came down with this storms that moved through the area. As I say, it moved so fast, it moved in so fast, it moved out so fast. Yeah, you don't have a lot of time to get to shelter on this storm. There you go. I did find 1 golf ball, so toonie to even golf ball sized hail. is what I found in this storm. Yeah, that branch came down. Oh yeah. Quite a few branches. What I found so far. Big time rainbow on the backside. Wow. And there it is. The rainbow on the backside of this very powerful storm that rolled through the area.
So as the storms are coming into now western Saskatchewan, and like the target area was the opposite side of the province. It was down the corner of southwest Manitoba, southeast Saskatchewan. That's where all the convergence seemed to be coming. And it didn't really happen. It was a bit of a bust. The timing was wrong. The location was wrong where storms formed. Storms sort of formed at the north end of that tornado watch area, sort of in the west end of it, and then departed from it and got fairly strong, like mesoscale large, but no tornadoes necessarily in the area we most expected. I mean, it's tough. People, like, you're talking about masses of air and moisture, and it's like, well, you guys didn't make a correct call about where it would be. It's like, yeah, it's really hard sometimes to know what air and moisture are gonna do. So then these storms, they went into Saskatchewan. Hank Vleister got hail hammering at his house there.
Ow! You got me on the toe. Good Lord. It's insane. I've never seen it quite like this in Wilkie ever. As far as the quantity of large hail. I've seen large hail, but not this much. And animals running for cover. Oh, I think it's ending.
And I'm looking at the radar. I'm like, from that little storm, man, that's telling. It's telling that you're getting nickel-sized hail out of something that's barely making a blip on the radar. This storm just north of them there at that point went towards the Battlefords and started becoming tornado warned. It went off kilter. It started just going any direction it wanted on the open prairie. It made for some ridiculous looking hook echoes and inflow notches. This was nuts, man. These storms were nuts. And then Jenny Hagen tracked this storm. She was chasing it and couldn't keep up. We got a report that storm may have been moving 130 kilometers an hour, 130 kilometers per hour, the storm itself. That's a cloud moving 130 kilometers. Wow. Okay. And welcome back, Cariboo Weather Dude YouTube channel. Hit like, share, subscribe. Talking about the storms that happened on the 20th of August. Become a channel member if you wouldn't mind. And come join the podcast tonight here on the channel live. Yes. Okay. Looking at Alberta yesterday to start. So early Wednesday evening, a fast-moving supercell, you can say that, tracked across southern Alberta, bringing significant damaging wind gusts, loony, golf ball-sized hail came with it. I know my friend's daughter, who's from BC here, got hit by baseball hail. Her car was damaged, and she was somewhat injured, although not seriously. There was damage to property and trees. There were multiple power outages in Newell and Vulcan counties, as per Fortis, Alberta. According to Alberta 511, Highway 1 was closed between Brooks and Bassano due to multiple collisions and down power lines, so people running into each other because the wind is pushing them or the hail was making the road slippery. Metal power lines flattened, trees and power poles snapped, and damage to irrigation pivots was reported near Brooks. There have been no tornado reports from this severe thunderstorm. Based on wind damage reports received from the public, the peak wind speed can be rated on the enhanced Fujita scale. This will be done once NTP, Northern Hail Project, and Tornadoes Project investigates the event. Although we do have some measurements of peak wind gusts in kilometers an hour, Atlee saw a wind speed of 149. There was a measurement at the Brooks Weather Station of 113. Latham and Buffalo up over 120 kilometers an hour. Social Plains hitting just a touch below 100. So ECC meteorologists are actively seeking pictures, reports of storm damage. If you have any, please Call 1-800-239-0484. Email storm@ec.gc.ca or post hashtag Alberta Storm. Okay, wow, that is nuts. Okay, cold temperatures in Nova Scotia, sure. Saskatchewan. Okay, during the evening and overnight hours between August 20 and 21, a number of thunderstorms moved through southern Saskatchewan. Large hail and strong winds reported. Additionally, there have been multiple reports of funnel clouds and possible tornadoes near both Martinsville and Middle Lake. These events are under investigation. Summary of hail reports and sizes. In millimeters, that's difficult, but so 7.3 centimeters is how big the hail in Langham got up to. So that's up to baseball sized hail. 6.4 centimeters in Radisson, tennis ball hail. North Battleford saw a hen egg sized hail. That's the one that Hank Fleister was on for sure. Mendham had 44 to 61 millimeters. That's 6.1 centimeters. So that's up to tennis ball size hail. Blumenthal had golf ball hail. Langham had ping pong. And then we got 2.6 centimeter hail. You're talking loony size and quarter size, basically. Some wind gust measurements we have there. North Battleford hit 129 kilometers an hour. Kindersley got to 116. Leader 111. Last Mountain 104. Maple Creek 94. And Nipawin 80. This is wild stuff, friends. These weren't your run-of-the-mill thunderstorms. These were some of the most intense thunderstorms we've had yet this summer, and there's been a lot of intense thunderstorms. It's like we're always squawking about storms, and then you don't know sometimes. We get, even myself, I get a little bit complacent because they're like, well, we know what thunderstorms are going to do so far this summer because, no, we haven't seen many houses get picked up and thrown around. There's been some tornadoes, but they've been out in the middle of nowhere. And you get a day like this where you're like, man, if that runs into a population center, that storm is going to, and they really did well to avoid some of the biggest population centers that were in the storm's tracks. Like I know Battleford's really just took a side glance, for example. Like it could have been so much worse. It could have been so much worse if Brooks had been hit dead on. It would have been, I don't know about catastrophic, but definitely the damage would have been extreme. So I'm really glad everyone's okay. I haven't heard of any deaths today, despite all the accidents, despite the trees coming down on people's houses and things like that. I'm glad everyone's safe. This is why we do it. This is why we chase. This is why we forecast. This is why we're here doing this kind of stuff, so that people have the information ahead of time. And even if it's not the most completely accurate and direct thing, like, the tornadoes didn't pop where we expected them to be yesterday. All inclinations and models, even the extreme legend himself, Reed Timmer, had that corner of Manitoba and Saskatchewan pegged. No one quite knows, though, when it's going to happen. But nonetheless, if we're squawking, and you look at that and be like, well, that's not for my area, but there is thunderstorms expected in my area. Maybe I should be aware today. It's one of those things that if we're talking, please be paying attention, everybody. I'm glad everything was okay. That was some wild stuff yesterday. Okay, we'll be back at you with some more forecasting, at least tonight for sure on the podcast. We're going to have a nice warm weekend in BC. I can't wait. Become a channel member if you want to support me. I would appreciate that very much. We'll see you next time, friends. Bye for now.